This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast. It's Friday, September 22nd, final full day of summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. Australia's absolutely knocking themselves out that it's spring tomorrow.
Yes.
But we begin autumn here in Canada. Still got beautiful weather, though. You get up over 20 degrees.
Sorry, did you say what time?
What time?
I did look that up.
Thank you. I appreciate that because I expect a gong to go off when seasons change.
It officially arrives at 2:50.
PM or AM?
AM.
AM?
Yep.
So while we're
morning.
sleeping.
2:50
tomorrow morning. It's autumn.
We will have exactly 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness.
Yes, and that won't happen again until like March 23rd.
Yes, when we flip back.
When we flip back with the... So this is the autumnal equinox.
Sure.
That's how you get the word autumn. Autumnal equinox.
Autumn equinox.
I'd like to think that mine's a little bit
There's
more
your autumnal
precise.
equinox there.
Autumnal equinox, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's like fall. Then there's the autumnal equinox.
It is a pretty word.
It is. I love it.
I would be too afraid that I would screw it up, but it does sound, there's, I don't know, a softness to it.
When my wife wears rust-colored clothing, I always tell her, you look very autumnal.
And does she roll her eyes?
It's funny you say that. She doesn't take it as the compliment it was intended. You're looking very autumnal. I was going for sexy,
Shocked.
but okay. But we were talking to Jimmy Hollywood because out in California, and he was
It's
talking.
very different out in
Yeah, and he was
California.
talking about all the leaves are brown from California Dreamin'.
Yes.
And I didn't want to correct him, but he missed the point of the song. John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas wrote California Dreamin' when they were trying to make it as a band in New York, and the songwriters there were like, your sound isn't really making it here. So he decided that we're either going to have to make a change or we're going to break up the band. Mm-hmm. So he was walking through the streets of New York in November, and all the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. So I went for a walk on a winter's day. I'd be safe and warm if I was in L.A. I was California dreaming. And then they went. So it's not about California having gray leaves. It's about being in New York. First chorus is all about it.
Thank you for sharing that, but I think we all associate that song with being in California.
In California.
Yes.
But it was written in New York because they want it to be. And now Jimmy says, since we don't get autumn in California, because he was from Michigan originally, it's kind of a bummer when you don't get autumn.
I can't imagine that either. And it's happened more than once where I've met someone or just having conversations with people in other places in the world and not experiencing the seasons we have. We are so fortunate because fall, yes, is my favorite. I can't imagine not going through this transition of watching the leaves turn, of having those cool, crisp evenings, and even rainy afternoons but the vibrancy of the colors and that feeling of fall isn't the same everywhere. And every so often I'm reminded about that.
Right.
We're very lucky to have it. And the same with spring, even our winters. It's very unique to Canada in this area, and I'm grateful for it.
It's true. There are a lot of people that never go through atmospheric change.
Like we do.
Like we do. I mean,
Yes.
we hear about Texas, for example, when they went through a deep freeze. So then that's a shock to them. It may snow for an inch in Atlanta and the whole city shuts down.
I was going to say the Carolinas, when they get snow and literally an inch of snow, their freeway is...
It's a mess.
It's a mess. It's a parking lot. Everybody's sliding everywhere and hitting each other. It's like, oh my gosh, how are you? You guys are ridiculous.
This is life in Canada. I don't mean snow. It's like we get summer, like you get summer, but we get fall where it'll drop down to...
Fortunate enough to have that, yeah.
The cold temperatures. By Halloween and early November, that's when it starts to get a little bitter, but October is gorgeous.
This time of year is...
It's nice.
I dare say perfect. You have the nice days. A little, even this is a little warm, I would say, but still very comfortable, cooler. but the sun shining, beautiful, and then the cool nights, which is perfect for sleeping.
Which is great. Windows open.
Love it.
Weighted blanket.
Yes.
Weighted blanket.
I had 2 weighted blankets last night.
See, that's too much. How do you get out? Like, you're not strong enough. How can you breathe?
I say weighted blankets. One is just a heavy quilt.
Okay,
but
that's not.
it's got some weight to it.
It's got some girth.
And then the actual quote-unquote weighted blanket.
10-pounder? What do you got?
Mine is a 12.
Okay. I think I have a 12.
The boys each have 15.
I don't know how Ben can...
I know. I don't know how he sleeps with it either, but he loves it.
He's a hockey player, so he can wrestle out from under it.
I tried to... Because that one was originally mine. I got it for Christmas a few years ago, and then he took it. So that's how I ended up with the 12-pound one. I'm like, why do I have the 12 pounds and you have the 15?
We were at the Home Builders Association golf tournament. Raffle prizes, one of them, 15-pound weighted blanket.
Oh, I love it.
I think I had 3 or 4 tickets in there. Didn't get it. But I did get the picnic pack.
Yes.
That they had.
And which, again, perfect weather for a picnic.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the first raffle prize I've ever won in a golf tournament around here.
Really?
And I've been here a quarter of a century. I can't think of the last time I've ever won anything at a golf tournament.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like, you get prizes for taking part and stuff like that.
But to actually put a ticket on and win?
And I've taken things on a silent auction, but I paid for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to actually be like somebody yank a number out of a hat and say, take this home with you, I think that's the first time. Wow. So it's pretty cool.
Well, and the nice thing about this year, about this time of year too, if you do use that picnic pack, no bugs.
No bugs. No, I like it.
Watch for the dopey bees, but the bugs, they're not around.
And the picnic pack had a black and red checked blanket, the Canadian blanket. It's my favorite. That goes
with your camping stuff.
Everything we've got is the red and black check. Oh, it's so the plaid. It's amazing. It's so Canadian. I love it. And it's inside a cooler backpack.
Ooh,
so it looks like a school backpack, but it's a cooler. And that's what you take the blanket out, tuck it under your arm, and then in goes the ice and whatever you want for your picnic. So you can go for a hike and then have a picnic. I've already got next summer planned.
I guess you do.
We're going to go have picnics in places that we've never seen before. But we're going to hike, and it's like I'm 61 by then, and it'll be 200 feet over there. This is too far. So that's where we're going to go.
But you'll have the picnic pack.
On a picnic table, because I don't want to sit like that. This entire pack was wasted on me.
All right. Well,
but anyway, that's going on.
Okay.
So enjoy it. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Quinte region, which is the other thing we wanted to talk about.
Holy cow.
Is I know what the 401 looks like on Friday afternoons and Sunday nights. Eastbound, it's gridlock into the Quinte region and beyond on Friday afternoons in the summers. Everybody goes out of Toronto. And then it's gridlock Sunday night when everybody's leaving Kawartha and Muskoka and coming through our area, going back to Toronto. And it's not as much in the fall, but it should be because we are still super busy with great things to do, including Brighton's Apple Fest.
You want to talk about a fall staple. I was trying to remember, and I meant to look. How many years has Brighton Apple Fest been on?
4,000 years.
I was going to say it's been more than 4. Come on.
1,000.
Brighton Apple Fest, does it say
Long
how
time.
many years?
Long time.
It's been every fall. This to me, and for a lot of people, is the kickoff to fall too. So it may officially arrive tomorrow, worldwide, Farmer's Almanac. But here in the Quinte area, I think Brighton Apple Fest, that is the true kickoff to fall.
Kickoff, right.
Because the entire town shuts down. And they have activities that kicked off actually yesterday. And now we'll run through Sunday. Brighton Speedway has their special events as well. But the entire town literally is shut down. There's vendors. There's kids' activities. There's car shows. There's, you name it, they have it.
It's great.
Through the town of Brighton. So that is going on this weekend. It doesn't say how many years it's been on.
But while you looked at it, let me tell you my Apple Fest story. For those of you who, if you're listening to the podcast outside the Quinte region, I want you to picture the geography because it has gone on long enough that the apples of Brighton always had to get to Trenton Cold Storage like 100 years ago. So the reason why Trenton Cold Storage is on the water, and some people have said, why don't you just have marinas and stuff? Why do you have businesses on the water? It's not as beautiful. Because the apples would come in by boat They would
From
come
the county?
from Brighton. Yep. They would
And
come
around
through
the-
the locks. That's
Oh,
why we
wow.
had into Trenton and then up into the Bay of Quinte so that they could be stored at Trenton Cold Storage before they'd be put on the trains or wherever they would go, and off they would go to the world. So Brighton always had their apples forever. The shipping through the Bay of Quinte and the channels from Lake Ontario up into Trenton Cold Storage and beyond. So the whole history of why Brighton Apple Fest is celebrated is truly just a part of Quinte history.
According to Wikipedia, the Brighton Apple Fest was created in 1975 by the merchants of Brighton, Ontario, to promote the Brighton area and the apple-based culture around it. It is now Brighton's largest yearly event, taking place annually during the last week of September, and can draw up to 30,000 visitors.
There it is.
So 1975, that means this is year 48.
Thank you.
They're coming up to their 50th
Yeah.
Apple Fest.
Yeah.
I remember, I have a story as well, not as important as yours, but I remember when I was just starting out in radio, I was working part-time, but I actually had to take another part-timer and show them how to do it on location.
Okay, yeah.
And Brighton Apple Fest was the
I love it.
location.
That's great.
So we practiced our cut-ins there, and it was just, I just remember the street being it was so loud, we couldn't do the cut-in from the Apple
you
Fest.
have
We
to.
had to wander down an alley.
Oh, no, you have to.
In order for so we could hear the people back in the studio
Right,
talking to us, because we
right.
couldn't hear because there were so many people. But that's what I remember.
It's better
about Apple
radio
Fest.
if you just hear crowd and nothing
It's
else.
great to hear the crowd.
I just love that.
But when you can't hear
Yeah.
in your headphones or the people on the phone back, it gets a little unnerving. But that's what I remember, just the crowds.
It's so good.
It is. It's so good. So that's on this weekend.
That's
that
going
kicks
on.
off in Brighton.
Another great event up Highway 37 is the Tweed Harvest Festival. And the Tweeding Company, they've got Miss Caledonia on stage outdoors outside at the Marble Arts Center.
One person,
in Kinilake.
18 different characters.
Yeah, she's doing all of these.
Yes.
Tim Porter and the gang, we had him on the podcast earlier this week. So good. And the weather is going to be so beautiful for the nighttime performances. They've got more tonight and tomorrow. And then as part of that, it wraps up with a huge band. My Son the Hurricane is going to be at the pavilion in downtown Tweed. And that's all going on with our Harvest Fest weekend. So that's awesome. It's so much fun. And again, it's like, I mean, those shows you pay, but you just go to Tweed and you walk around and it's free. Like,
Yeah.
it's vendors. It's like Brighton Apple Fest. It's just, you're outdoors and you're doing these vendors. And it's so wonderful. It's so, so good.
It's so fall.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it?
And
like
Canadian.
Exactly.
And
like these festivals.
Quinte region.
You put on
and-
a sweater, you
Yeah.
go outside, you take in the foliage and enjoy
Yeah.
an apple and
Yeah.
what the town has to offer. It's awesome.
and a candy apple, and then I buy a new scarf, and I buy new gloves, right? You're going to get your new leather gloves from a vendor, and a belt I don't need.
Maybe a piece of wood that's been formed into
Right.
an animal. Like,
Right.
you see the woodworking vendors.
Right. And then Kath will get candles for something. like that's what we
Maybe
do.
a few pumpkins. I think I will
And
do
then-
that this weekend.
And then 2 apple pies, because I couldn't decide, so I'll buy 2 of them.
You mentioned that with Girls Orchards, because
Yeah.
also going on this weekend, it's Quinte Hospice's car rally. This is an annual event as well. Another harvest, because it has the artisan market attached to it going on
Mm-hmm.
at Girls Orchard. So if you're not taking part in the car rally, you can still go. They have a whole day of events planned
Oh
at
my
Girls
gosh,
Orchards.
yeah.
And if you are in the car rally, drive safely. But it's like a scavenger hunt too. You're in Belleville and Trenton, and you have different stops to make, and you're trying to get here and there. Now, you mentioned the rivalry between the two communities.
Which doesn't exist, but I made one up for the sake of the fun. Drive safely, but
So
be
it
daring.
could be a little interesting, but
Go
it gets
Quinte
underway
West.
at 10. But you mentioned getting your pies. But
Yeah.
at the orchard, hello apples
Yeah.
and pumpkins and all the other fall vegetables and gourds that are now in season and available.
Yeah.
It's all right there.
It's absolutely fabulous. And
Yeah.
then we got lots of stuff going here in Belleville as well, including Porch Fest. And this is a great arts community.
Mm-hmm.
And the Quinte Arts Council has this great event where up in East Hill, if you've not taken part in this, you go on a walking tour. There's usually a map that you pick up, probably online. You can get them online now, or you go to
or
Glamore
from
House.
the Arts Council themselves.
And
Yeah.
then you walk around, and on people's porches on this map will be performers. And most of the part, they're singers with guitar players, pianos. Some are bands. Some are just poetry readings. It's an art, and it's a self-guided walking on a beautiful afternoon in East Hill and Belleville, taking in the arts.
Quite often I see pictures from Porch Fest, and not to promote it, I am not, because it might just be hot chocolate, but a lot of times you see people with refreshments.
Yep.
And they just walk through the neighborhood, and you take in the different acts or performers right there in your neighborhood. You get some friends together, you get your neighbors together, and you just kind of walk around. And I thought, that is so, and you've seen it, I've seen it pop up in different communities from there, but Belleville's was the first one I really knew about it. And I thought, that is so, and East Hill's beautiful.
Yeah.
But such a neat way to spend an afternoon.
All that's going on. Did we miss anything? I know Shannonville's got some racing going on this weekend.
That continues this weekend.
Want to take that on? Various other events.
There's so many things going on.
Yes, of course. Rubber on the Ramp.
Oh, yeah. Let's not forget Rubber on the Ramp.
CFB Trenton, Coops and Cockpits, I like to call it. Because I'm not sure Rubber on the Ramp does it justice.
Wasn't there a trucks one you said too? Trucks and... maybe not. I thought there was a trucks one.
What?
But essentially, you take your vehicle on the runway and have it photographed with a fighter jet.
A Herc in the background.
Yeah. There's 3 different aircrafts. It's $30. You do have to register ahead of time for your time slot.
Per picture.
But then they also have, I believe, food vendors and some activities going on as well, away from the runway for families and kids. So take them out, enjoy some time. Like, who doesn't want to be at CFB Trenton on the runway?
Yeah.
Right down, ground level with those planes, get a photo, help out the United Way.
Some food, some entertainment.
Yeah.
All going the United Way. All going on this weekend.
The next 2 to 3 days.
Clean your house as much as you want to, or do whatever, whatever.
Or don't, and just go.
And then don't come
get
back
out of the house.
Sunday
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just ignore it until
Take a trailer,
Sunday.
get a bed and breakfast. I don't care. Stay with friends. Make it a getaway in your own backyard weekend.
And the trees are starting to turn. I'm starting to see that color. And this area is beautiful this time of year.
So there'll be a lot of selfies and shots going on. You don't have to go up to Algonquin Park, although that's gorgeous too. But that's jammed this weekend. I'm not telling you don't go, but don't go.
Stay here.
It's ridiculous how crowded it gets. It's all going on right here in the Quinte region. If you want to check online to verify everything we just said, or clarify when the events are taking, InQuinte.ca, InQuinte.ca. So if you're listening to us in Germany but you can't make it, you can follow it that way online. InQuinte.ca.
And this weekend, of course, wrapping up a big week of events. It started with your gala on Saturday, the BGHF gala. But then we had the golf tournament. And then yesterday, the Alzheimer's Society coffee break day. World Alzheimer's, and we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that and just thank everybody for coming out yesterday.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun, and donated to the Alzheimer's Society.
Thanks to everybody who still had change, because that's just a shrinking commodity.
It shocked me how
Nobody's
much change.
got money
there was a
anymore.
woman though, two-handed.
I know.
Like she cupped the change and like dumped it.
Here,
like I was like,
this.
whoa, okay. Like when people give change, it's usually maybe a few toonies, loonies, loose change. But like she had a fistful. It was great. I'm like, thank you so much.
Haven't added it all up yet, but the gang at the Alzheimer's Society, thank you so much for letting us come out and share your day with you, to the volunteers and the drive-thrus and everything. And again, those that went through McDonald's and the McDonald's owners themselves, thank you so much for helping out the Alzheimer's Society.
I double-checked with Angela yesterday on the book sale, and yes, the first week of November.
Okay.
Because I said I do have to check in and make sure, because we don't want to miss it.
Right.
First week of November. So mark that on your calendar, Mark. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. First week of November. You'll be here. No,
I'm not. I'm on vacation.
The first week of November? No, you're not. You're here.
The Tuesday, November the 7th then?
No. Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will go shopping for you.
Okay, good. I'll leave you some titles and some some authors.
And keep an eye out for those.
And if I've already
that's when
read
their
them,
book sale is.
it's only $2. Exactly. I'll pay you back. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So much stuff going on. We love the fall here in the Quinte region. Don't be a stranger. Absolutely. Gorgeous. This is our final podcast because I plan on winning the gold ball draw in 649.
Didn't you say that earlier this week?
I can't believe was it 66 million?
I don't know.
Something
I don't
like
even
that
want to
coming
know.
up.
It just,
I don't know. You and I don't want to split a ticket?
Sure, I'll split a ticket.
We'll split a ticket then.
Okay.
Final podcast because we feel lucky, punk. Have a great weekend, okay, everybody? We'll talk to you Monday morning. Mark and Charity, 95.5 Hits FM.